because I have encountered some people that were like, oh my gosh, I didn't want to say anything because I wasn't sure that you were actually pregnant. And then I go,
yeah, I'm not just fat, but thanks.
what's up, tribe, and welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for joining me again. If you are new here, then my name is Mariah and I am currently on a pregnancy journey for rainbow baby number 1. If you haven't already gotten caught up to speed, now is the opportunity. You can click this playlist linked up above to just get you all caught up to where we are today. Okay guys, so I know that I have been a little bit more MIA than I normally am. I know these last couple of months I've been just slightly, like, I guess more inconsistent than I typically have been in the past, but we just have had just so much going on in general over these last few months, particularly these last couple of weeks. We had a power outage this past week, so we actually went down to my parents' house for about 5 days, so that kind of like threw off all of my updates. Also, we have been extremely busy as far as our housing situation is concerned and just really trying to find a place to live, so that has been taking up a lot of our time, a lot of mental energy, and we've also been under a considerable amount of stress. So that is why we essentially have been sort of MIA, and I have not been updating you guys as regularly as I normally like to, but it is what it is and life happens. So let's go ahead and get into today's bump date. So I am currently in my 34th week. I think I'm like 34 weeks and 2 or 3 days. Yeah, like 34 and a half weeks. But in my 32nd week, I had another growth scan and another appointment just to check on baby and see how he is doing, and Rain is doing awesome. He's developing great. I do have some pictures to show you guys, but they are very crappy. That was a weird day in the clinic. My ultrasound tech was really just off-putting and her bedside manner pretty much sucked, but I did get to see him additionally because she had a resident in training with her who was practicing pretty much her ultrasound techniques. So I got a little bit longer of a scan in a way, but overall that appointment, like I said, was just completely weird. But as far as baby Rain is concerned, he is now at 4 pounds and 8 ounces. And I will go ahead and show you guys a picture. There is a picture of his foot. I'm trying to get as close in as possible and not block it with my nails. And then at the bottom, I have another profile shot, but like I said, this is like a really terrible, in my opinion, profile shot because you can't really tell or get his full profile in view. But there he is. So like I said, he is 4 pounds and 8 ounces, which puts him right in the 50th percentile. Now, obviously, it's been not quite 2 weeks yet since my appointment, so I'm sure he is slowly and hopefully slowly gaining a little bit more body mass or weight or whatever you want to call it. He's developing more, so obviously with that comes more weight. As far as my weight gain is concerned, I have gained a total of 14 pounds from my pre-pregnancy weight, and that honestly fluctuates a lot. Most weeks I go up and down as far as my weight is concerned. One week I'll be up 2 pounds and then the next week I'll be down 2 pounds, and it's nothing different really going on with my diet or anything like that. I think it's just the way that I am holding on to my weight or lack thereof. And funny thing with that though is that I have actually lost 2 inches in my belly, so the circumference of my belly is actually smaller than what it was, I want to say, about 4 weeks ago. So I've actually lost 2 inches in the last 4 weeks, in despite of picking up some more weight. And I think a lot of that weight, to be quite honest, is going more towards my thigh area. And I'm sure there's probably some fluid also that's going on. That's where the weight gain is coming from. But I'm definitely still in a healthy place and a good place as far as the amount that I am gaining and I guess losing, or the way I am maintaining my weight, so to speak. So baby Rain is also head down. His spine is facing my spine, and he usually pretty much gives the technicians a run for their money. He does tend to move around a lot during my growth scans and ultrasounds, and in general he's becoming a lot more active. Before, in previous months, I felt like I had like a really lazy baby in here because he was not really active at all, really, and it was very very like minimum movements and minimum feelings. Because I have an anterior placenta, I still barely feel him moving towards the front. If I do, it's very, 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 very low down in my pelvis, or very high up, right about, I would say about right here in my rib cage, which is normally his feet. But all in all, he is a lot more active these days than he was previously. He's not necessarily sticking to a schedule or a certain time of the day that he's more active than others. My doctor is having me just go ahead and do kick counts. So he's definitely been maintaining and passing on as far as his kick counts are concerned. So about 2 days before my last appointment, I started having some Braxton Hicks contractions. My stomach was so super tight and uncomfortable, and I was getting really crampy. And I went ahead and talked to my doctor about it, and he was like, you know, I really cannot describe to you or tell you the distinguishable difference between Braxton Hicks and regular contractions, but if you do all the normal things like drink water, you might want to take it a little bit more easy, make sure you stay out the heat. If you're doing all of that stuff, the only time I'm really getting super concerned is if you're having 6 contractions or more per hour. So basically, he told me to just monitor it, keep an eye on it, nothing to really worry about. But once we get to that point, or if we get to that point where there are 6 contractions or more happening per hour, so essentially a contraction every 10 minutes, he's like, don't wait, just go ahead and come in. Don't even bother calling. I mean, you can call to let us know you're on your way, but just go ahead and come into the hospital. So that's definitely something that's good to know, and something that I will be mindful of, because we are quite a ways away. So I do have to be a little bit more mindful and conscious as to what's going on with my body. Other than that, pretty much my symptoms have been minimal. My nausea did come back, not in like full force, because you guys know I was pretty much up chucking everything, every meal, every single day for the first 5 months or so, but it hasn't come back to that extent. However, my dinner times are really rough. I lose my appetite very quickly. I think last night I had like maybe a piece of corn, and I had a whole rice bowl sitting next to me, and I had a piece of corn. I went ahead and ate the piece of corn and completely lost my appetite altogether. And it took me about, I would say, 2 to 3 hours to actually finish the main portion of my meal. And that's how my meals have been for the last probably 2 weeks or so. I try to keep them pretty small, but like I said, I am at a stage where I am losing my appetite, or I'm getting extremely nauseous from all of his movements, because he does tend to move around in the evening, sometimes around dinner time. So all of that kind of gives me a churning feeling, which I'm sure is compressing my stomach in a lot of weird ways. So that definitely just makes me feel completely gross when it comes to eating, and I have to be careful to make sure I like take breaks and pause. Otherwise, it's definitely going to come back up. So the nausea has been something that has been slowly but surely returning, but nothing that's preventing me from getting decent nutrition or keeping down any of my meals. Also, I had mentioned to you guys that my pulmonologist had prescribed me Flovent for my asthma, because they didn't want me taking my albuterol multiple times a week, especially when it comes to like 4 days in a row. So as soon as he prescribed that, my asthma pretty much stopped, and it stopped before I even took my first dose. So I haven't taken the Flovent at all, but I also have not had to take my albuterol inhaler except for maybe like one time over the last few weeks, and that is because I came into contact with a property that had cats, so that was more from my allergies than anything else. But yeah, it was weird. As soon as he wrote the prescription and I went to pick it up, like literally within days, my asthma started to kind of chill out and subside. And that is also probably because my reflux has started to kind of subside as well. I still get it, but it's not as extreme as it was before, to where I'm getting it every single day or multiple days in a row. Now I might get it probably about 2, maybe 3 times a week max. And when I do, it's not to the point, like I said, that it's affecting my asthma. So that has definitely been awesome. And lastly, as far as symptoms are concerned, I still have been battling with constipation despite doing the Colace, the apple juice, the Miralax, all of that stuff. So my doctor did let me know that I could incorporate Metamucil into my diet, which had been recommended to me by a friend. So I just went ahead and confirmed with him that that was fine with what else I had going on. So I'm definitely going to pick that up this week and start that. And then probably about 2 to 3 weeks before delivery, I am going to completely cut out dairy altogether. I've already been doing almond milk in the place of cow's milk. I've just been doing that with my cereal and sometimes cookies or things like that. But I'm going to completely just eliminate dairy altogether in those last few weeks because, like I said, the constipation has been an extreme struggle this whole time. The very last thing that I went over with my doctor was their labor and delivery policy at the hospital. Every time at each appointment I go to, I pretty much ask because there's not really like official up-to-date information on their website. I mean, it is, but things change with them on a weekly basis sometimes. So I always ask just to make sure I have the most up-to-date information and I can stay informed about what it's going to look like when I do come down to deliver. So their labor and delivery policy as it stands currently, not to say that it won't change within the next several weeks, but as it stands currently is that I am allowed to have one support person, which will obviously be Jeremy. He will get a wristband for security purposes. So when we check in, we'll both get a wristband. The MFM is not sure because he is not always on the labor and delivery unit. So he's not really sure if Jeremy is allowed to leave the hospital once he enters. I know a lot of other women right now, their partners are not allowed to leave once they're in the hospital. You're pretty much in there until you are getting discharged with your baby or your partner. And if you choose to leave before that time, you won't be let back in. So at our hospital, the doctor did say that there is potential for Jeremy to be able to kind of come and go as he pleases for just like food and stuff like that, but they really discourage it. So what we are going to try to plan for is to bring like a small cooler with some food, some snacks, some ready to go type of meals that will just kind of tie us over for the few days that we will be there. They also did tell me to prepare for a 48-hour stay. They are not looking to release me before 48 hours, even if everything goes well with pretty much flying colors. They just told me that that's what I need to prepare for. Also, there's no room sharing that I need to worry about. So me, Jeremy, and the baby will have our own private room. We don't really have to worry about coming into contact with anyone else other than our doctors and nurses. And as far as the mask policy is concerned, we are required to wear masks while we are in the hallways or while we're in our rooms with doctors and nurses. Pretty much once the doctors or nurses leave the room, we can just take the mask off, but we will not be required to wear it the entire time. I also asked about their mask policy as far as labor and delivery is concerned, and my MFM looked at me like, it's hard enough to go through labor and breathe at the same time and deliver a baby without a mask, so we definitely will not be asking you to put a mask on. And finally, as it relates to COVID, so I will be tested for COVID upon arrival at the hospital. So I'll get there. The first thing they're going to do is go ahead and administer my COVID test, and then they're going to put us in an isolated room before we are moved up into the labor and delivery unit. They want to make sure that we are not bringing anything up to that unit, meaning they don't want to put us in a labor and delivery room that is not set up for COVID positive patients and then have to move us or transfer us to a specialized room and have to sanitize the room that we have already been in. I know that was a lot, but they basically don't want to have to clean up any extra rooms for contamination purposes. Then we also talked about what happened with the COVID testing in the event of an induction. If the induction takes place, I am expected to show up at the hospital a day prior to go ahead and get the COVID testing done. That way they have the results and once again know which kind of room they're going to put us in. But in any event, we will all three of us be kept pretty much in the same room. So that was definitely a relief for me. They also let me know that they will not be discharging me from the hospital until the baby is ready to be discharged. So they won't be just like kicking me out of the hospital anytime soon until he's ready to go, which was also nice to hear and gave me a little bit of peace of mind that I will more than likely, unless there is some extensive NICU stay, I will more than likely be leaving the hospital with our baby. Other than that, guys, pregnancy has been pretty good. It definitely, these last few weeks have been just great. I mean, like, I can't say there's anything that I don't enjoy. I mean, it gets uncomfortable at times, but I definitely wouldn't trade this experience for anything else. And I can't even describe just how grateful I am to have the experience to be able to feel him moving around in here. Yeah, it does freak me out some days where he's not as active as he normally is, but it's an overall just magnificent experience to be able to have. So I'm definitely grateful for that. And I know you guys are all waiting, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a bump shot. Like I said, not much has actually changed, and my bump is pretty much the same. If anything, it's smaller. I don't really know that it's even changed that much as far as the shape of it is concerned, but everything fits pretty much the same as of late. And most people, to be honest with you, I go into places and they'll say, congratulations, oh, how far along are you? And I'll be like, I am 8 months. And they'll be like, you look like you're like 5 or 6 months. You do not look like you're 8 months. And it's only when I'm wearing like very form-fitting clothes that most people will even say anything, because I have encountered some people that were like, oh my gosh, I didn't want to say anything because I wasn't sure that you were actually pregnant. And then I go,
yeah, I'm not just fat, but thanks.
So our next appointment will be in about 2 weeks at 36. It'll be at the end of my 36th week. And then after that, I will start my weekly appointment. So we are definitely getting down to the wire, and we are just super excited for him to come and finally be here. I do tend to get a little bit of anxiety the closer we get to his arrival, just really because I don't want anything to go wrong or anything to necessarily happen to him at this stage in the game. I feel like we've gotten so far now, like it would be devastating for anything to go wrong or anything to happen. So there is a little bit of new, I guess, pregnancy anxiety, because I remember I told you guys that I wasn't really feeling that anxiety or anxiousness anymore, and this is a very different and very new feeling. And like I said, it's really only been in the last week that I have been feeling that way, and I think it's just because it's getting more and more real the closer we get to due date, that just in a few short weeks we are going to be officially holding our child. So that's where I'm at with my emotions, or as far as my emotions concerned. Other than happiness, like I said, there's that little bit of anxiety there, but it certainly isn't overshadowing anything else or any of the joy that I am feeling for just having our little boy on the way. Also, I just recently ordered some red raspberry leaf tea, and my MFM actually told me, it wasn't my MFM, it was like a stand-in because I've never met that man before, but he basically told me like, look, I don't know really much of anything about red raspberry leaf tea. The only thing I can actually tell you is that it's not on our do nots list as far as natural or holistic type of things are concerned. So he's like, I can't tell you either way whether to do it, not do it, stay away from it, go for it. But he's like, I can certainly tell you that it's not on our do nots list. So I went ahead and ordered some, but I'm kind of not hesitant. I'm just kind of weighing when exactly I want to start drinking it, because I do not want it to, I guess, work too well and speed things up too much to the point where we actually don't even make it all the way to the hospital. I definitely don't want to have a car baby. So what I'm thinking at this point is that I'm not going to start drinking it until I'm within my 36th week. And I might potentially even wait until my 36 weeks growth scan and my next appointment. I'll have the growth scan and the appointment with my MFM the same day. So I might wait to ask one more time before I go ahead and start it. I don't really think that it's going to like do anything crazy or cause anything like major to happen. I just, I like to cross my T's and dot my I's. And like I said, I know for some women it works really, really well and speed things up on an extreme end. And more than anything, I just want to make sure that we have enough time to make it to the hospital. I would love for things to go fairly quickly, but like I said, I want to at least make sure that we are not having our baby in the car. So there's that. Well, that's all for this video, guys. You already know the drill. If you liked it, make sure you give us a huge thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to join our tribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Ladies, for those of you who are still TTCing, do not forget to go ahead and enter into the Mira giveaway that is still up, open, and running. I am sending all of you, whether you are TTCing, pregnant, or beyond those stages in life, I'm sending all of you lots and lots of love, tons of positive vibes, and I hope you all are having an amazing and wonderful week. So I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.